Hey, and welcome back to Help Me GMP. This is part 4 of our interview series, and today we're talking about the tricky ones. So those situational questions, you know, the ones that start with, tell me about a time when. Now I know what you might be thinking. I've never worked in pharma, so how do I answer that? Well, don't worry, you don't need years of experience to give a strong answer. I've sat through more interviews than I can count, and honestly, some of the best responses that I've ever heard came from everyday roles such as retail, hospitality, care, volunteering. They're not GMP environments. Because what really matters is how you think, how you act, and how you learn. So today I'll show you how to structure your answers using those real-world experiences. And we'll go through 3 practical examples that work brilliantly for entry-level GDP or GMP roles. So we don't say this in the interviews, but behind the scenes we're using the STAR method as well. That means setting the scene, describing your task, explaining what you did, and what happened next. So without further ado, let's get straight into those model answers. So question 1. Tell me about a time when you have kept something organised in a busy environment. Well, in my previous job, I worked on the delivery team at a large supermarket. We received daily stock deliveries and sometimes up to 20 cages a day, and had a limited backroom space. If that space wasn't managed properly, it could lead to delays, safety risks, or stock going out of date. So one weekend, our main delivery arrived several hours late due to a depot issue. There was only 2 of us on the shift, and the store was already getting busy. I paused for a moment and I suggested we reorganise the cages by category: chilled, frozen, and ambient. That way we could deal with the temperature sensitive stock first and reduce time lost rummaging through mixed pallets. I also checked expiry dates as we worked and flagged anything short dated to the duty manager. We cleared the backlog within a couple of hours, avoided waste, and kept the aisles clear for customers. The store manager used our photos in the next day's team brief to show what good actually looked like. That shift really taught me that when things feel hectic, you don't have to rush in. You just get organised, communicate, and stay focused. And that's exactly the kind of mindset I bring to a GDP or GMP regulated space. So let's move on to question 2. Tell me about a time you have had to follow a strict process. So, example is, when I worked in a cafe, one of our most important responsibilities was managing allergen requests. Orders with allergens had to be flagged at the till, communicated to the kitchen, and then prepared using a separate set of utensils and services. So one day, a customer told me that they had a nut allergy when ordering a cake. But when I looked at the kitchen ticket, the allergen flag wasn't there. I didn't assume that someone else had caught it. I paused the order and went straight to the chef. We cancelled the original dish, cleaned down the area, and remade it using the correct process. After service, I brought it up in the team meeting and we agreed to add an extra verbal allergen check before anything left the kitchen. That moment really hit home for me. Processes aren't there just to tick boxes, they're there to keep people safe. And that's the kind of mindset, following procedures carefully and always checking, is something that I would look to do and carry into this GMP role. And last but not least, question 3. Tell me about a time you have spotted a mistake and corrected it. So the answer would be, I used to volunteer at a local charity shop, and part of my job was sorting donations and pricing items using a reference guide. One shift, I noticed that a winter coat from a well-known brand had been labelled for £5. I remembered seeing that brand in our guide list closer to about £40. So rather than just charging the price, I flagged it up with the manager. We checked it together, corrected the label, and left a note in the pricing log so others wouldn't miss it in the future. The coat sold the next day at full value, and the manager thanked me for being proactive. I also suggested that we create a simple quick checklist near the till for common brands, to make it easier for other volunteers to spot high value items. This experience showed me that small errors can have big impact. But if you're paying attention and willing to speak up, you can protect the whole process. So to wrap it up, situational questions aren't just about what happened. They're about how you think, how you act, and how you learn from it. And here's the key thing. You don't need GMP experience to show that mindset. Everyday challenges, if you handle them with care, structure and reflection, can show interviewers that you already have the qualities they're looking for GMP entry roles. So in those GDP warehousing and GMP production floor roles, employers want people who are accountable, detail focused, calm under pressure, and committed to doing the right thing every time. So if you're preparing for an interview, don't sell yourself short. Bring your stories and prove you're ready to step into a regulated environment. Thanks again for watching Help Me GMP, and this was part 4 of our interview tips and model answers series. If you haven't already watched part 1s through 3 yet, check them out. Hopefully they help. And keep an eye out for part 5, where we'll focus on documentation and quality-based roles. Finally, if this helped you, please like the video, hit subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you soon in the next video.